What up, y'all? Surprise, surprise, surprise. We just thought that we drop in for a minute, check in on y'all, see how all the happy couples doing. If you're listening live or later, it won't be long, but we just want to spend a little time with you. So, you know how we do. Share with somebody, tag somebody, tell them we are Marriage Monday in
Live.
live for some little chit chat. All right. So tag somebody, tell somebody, let us know where you're coming in from. Hey, y'all.
They're coming in too.
What's up, y'all? Y'all good? We about to jump in. How are y'all doing? Don't be caught up in reading the comments, but
I'm not gonna. But it just started.
yeah.
Can I at least have a minute of
Then
looking at comments? It's been a minute.
you know how it go when you read the
I
comments,
just want
then
to see.
you can't see the rest of it. Y'all talking to us
No,
in
they
the
just
chat?
coming in.
Yeah, say something.
Mm-mm.
Let us know where you're
Good
coming in
evening.
from and what's going.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm not gonna look.
You're reading the comments again.
But they're saying hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Y'all good? We just wanted to see how y'all doing, check in on y'all, what y'all been up to. Jora, hey now.
Hey.
Iowa
Iowa City.
City.
Is that in Iowa?
This blonde hair sometimes. Just saying. What up, Connecticut? Houston. Hey y'all. You like the playlist of worship? That's so good.
Yeah, it is amazing. Great job.
We hope that is blessing you. We won't be long, y'all. Tell somebody we in, and if y'all watching this live or later, chime in and let us
Hey.
know this good. We bring in Marriage Monday back for the fall, once a month or so. She said yes. Iowa
I
City,
know.
Iowa.
Sorry.
Mississippi, what up? Hello, hello, Memphis, Tennessee in the house. So what we've been up to? Traveling.
A lot.
We traveled a lot every
Good
weekend.
traveling.
1 week a little while ago, I had to go on a ministry assignment without my wife. She sent me
Oh my
by
God.
myself.
We're supposed to do a live about that too.
Yeah,
Remember?
we'll talk about that
Okay.
later. Why you turn that way?
I don't know. Okay.
Scoot over just a little bit
This
though. Your hips, just move your, yeah, there we go. All right, so we're gonna get adjusted. This weekend we got a chance to go to Living in the Word Church in,
good church.
yeah, it was St. Louis area, but still Illinois. Incredible pastors and leaders.
Yes.
Got to spend some time with some beautiful people. We did a marriage retreat there. We did Love Is was the topic. His topic was Love Is Not Lost. And so we did a all-day seminar talking about that. And of course, when we get going, we ran out of time. So people asked some questions.
And they had some really great
They have some really great questions, and we didn't get to finish them. So I told them that we would do a live letting them know. I know, Jabari, we're going to call you back. I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm going to tell her right after this that we got to call you back. All right. So I was waiting for her tonight. Let me do me. You manage that over there, okay? Quit trying to run my house. All right, Jabari. So we have some good questions.
Yeah. And we ran out of time.
And we ran out of time. So we said we're going to get into it. So tonight we're going to try to answer these questions. And if you get some, you can share them with us as well. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the first question that somebody had?
So the first question is, if you are physically unable to have sex with your husband or your wife.
Whoa, we jumping right in.
Yeah.
Collinsville. That's where it was.
Yeah. Collinsville. Yeah. Okay. How do you keep that eros burning? Because remember, you talked about the four different kind of loves, and the eros is the sexual
passionate love.
Passionate love.
Yeah. So if you are unable to physically have sex with your wife or your spouse, and you know that, how do you
the doctor has confirmed that?
Right.
Let's say it that way, because some people
in your head.
Some stuff.
Yeah. So if that is the case, there are plenty of ways, as we stated, to remain intimate, right? Because all sex is not intimate. Just because there may perhaps be no physical penetration with your member. There are other members of your body that you
can make it happen.
Have some
Okay.
intercourse. And I think intimacy and closeness also comes with physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
So that, hand holding, hair rubbing, biting, licking, sucking, touching.
Y'all not ready.
It's a lot of ways.
It's a lot of
that you
ways,
can
y'all.
still do things that, and ultimately whichever spouse can't perform to the way that they would like to,
right,
they should ask the other spouse,
how
can I please you? What do you need me? What would satisfy you?
Exactly.
Sexually. How can I creatively, intentionally bring you pleasure?
And I also feel that the person that quote unquote feels that they're unable to pleasure their spouse, they need to get out of their head. Because you have to get out of your head that I can't do it.
I can't do that.
I can't do that.
But I can do
something. But when you get that limitation off of your mind, then you'll be creative. And then, like sex should be, it should be to your partner, not
for you.
Not only for you.
I'm saying in that sense, if it's not about you, it's about them. So what do you want, and how can I please you?
And you need to ask them. And the person that's being asked, you don't need to be shy. You need to be honest about what you want, because that's for married couples all around.
Yeah.
Don't go in here assuming that you know what they want and you know what they need and all the other kind of stuff. Like my husband says, that if you already know, then that means that you are trying things on your partner that you did with somebody else.
Teach me is basically what everybody should become a student
to their partner
in the bedroom, to their partners, of what they like and don't like, and what they want to try,
and how many times, since we're on this, how the frequency. Have those open and honest questions,
expectations
exactly
met and accepted.
In the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon,
in the middle of the day,
like what is it like? Have a conversation.
So I think that ultimately curiosity would be the answer, and come to your spouse with that curiosity. Ask them how you can please them. Find other ways to create intimacy and passion, and spend time together. And I think,
and also,
you put your hand.
I know. Also, because
class.
you might feel that you can't perform in there, because there's medications that you might be taking that could cause your
you can take something that can help.
Yeah,
but yes,
but that will cause your libido to go down. Know what that is.
Why you gotta assume it's a him that can't do it?
I did it. I said libido. Regardless. Yes,
go ahead.
That's for everybody.
You're right.
So if that is low or whatever, or if your medication messes with that, like, know what it is, so that you can have an honest conversation, and also so that you can help your partner and figure out supplements and all these other kind of things that you might need to help raise it up.
That's good. That is good conversation.
All right.
All right. Instagram, we just came in live on you. Sorry we late. You can go back and watch on YouTube, because that's where it's going to be housed.
Okay.
All right. What's the next one?
How can you recover from infidelity in a marriage?
Can you recover? How can you recover?
How can you recover?
And can you recover?
I believe you can recover.
You can recover.
If both of you want your marriage. That has to be the first question.
Right.
Do you want your marriage? Not this marriage, because this marriage is trash, because you done slept on me, and it's infidelity and all this other kind of stuff that's involved in it. We don't want this marriage. This marriage is trash. But the marriage that we about to create, do we both want to create it with each other? I think that's the first question.
Yeah, but I mean, don't throw the whole marriage away.
No, you're not throwing the whole marriage.
You kind of threw it away. You said it's trash. I mean, we messed up.
You messed up.
Or you messed up. Somebody messed up. But that don't mean that the whole thing is trash.
It's not.
That don't mean that the history, what we built, we messed up. And so the question is, do you want to be married? Do you want the marriage? Do you want to do the work to recover, to rebuild
your marriage,
our marriage, right? Because this area
Right.
maybe we messed up.
That's
But
trash.
these things were great,
Yeah.
right? You just threw the whole
I
thing
did. I
away,
just
but
said
you
that
just
part
did.
was
You
trash.
know, you said this
I
marriage is
take it
trash.
back. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sometimes it is,
I'm
but
sorry.
sometimes it's not. The
Okay.
whole thing is not
I
a mess.
apologize.
And so, but I think sometimes that's what people do. They take the one thing and they
And
throw
they
the
throw it
whole thing away.
away. Right.
And then they go get in another thing and still got to do work. And you like, dang, I threw the whole thing away for one
Throw the
thing.
baby away
Exactly.
with the yes.
And so don't just assume that. So let's just say, do you want to be married? And to love is to forgive, right?
Right.
So if I'm going to love anybody, I have to come to that with the understanding that there's going to be forgiveness there, period. There's going to be forgiveness about various
Right.
things. And so if I have within me the capacity to forgive you
Mhm.
in this area and still be with you, right?
Right.
Because I have to
Because that
forgive you,
part
because I have to forgive you whether I stay with you or
or
not.
not. Right.
I have to forgive you. They said you gave a real answer. No, Christina, I disagree. I mean, there are some places that we do that language she used about we don't want this marriage this way. I get that.
Right.
And there are areas where we discuss that there's multiple things. But so many times we have people that throw a whole marriage away
Because
from
of one no.
one little thing or one big thing.
Right.
And in the scope of all the things maybe on your list, this is the unforgivable, this is blasphemy, this is the unforgivable sin in your marriage. But here it is, you're still going to have to forgive
Right.
even if you don't stay
Look
with
at that
them,
person.
because
Right.
God says you got to forgive, period, or
Regardless.
you
Right.
won't be forgiven. So if you still have to forgive, finding your heart to forgive, the question is not if you can forgive, because you have to forgive if you're a believer, or even if you're an unbeliever, because that unforgiveness is going to eat
Unforgiveness,
away
it
at you. It's
kills
going to
you.
kill you, right?
Right.
It's going to keep you as a prisoner. So if you choose to forgive, then the question is, can you live with them after you forgive them? That's the question.
That's the question.
And if you can live with them after you forgive them and you choose to forgive them, then you can't keep reliving it. You can't keep re-injuring. You can't keep bringing it up. You can't keep throwing it in their face. You can't keep holding against them, because you cannot move on and heal if you keep on reliving the
Because
past.
they can't move on.
Right. That's right.
They're
They
they're
can't move
they're
on. They're
stuck.
stuck. They're stuck in what they did, and nobody wants to be boxed into what it is that you did and always
Always.
constantly reminded of your mistake,
Right.
whatever it is, right? And so then the offended the offended has to create a safe space to heal and to move on, and the offender
has
has
to
to,
allow them to have that space.
right, and rebuild trust and put new parameters in.
Exactly.
Now you got to tell where your code is, and you gotta
You got to
here go my
call.
location on my phone, and you got to be extremely accountable and extremely careful and extremely transparent, because you lost a sacred trust
Right.
and you created a dynamic. Hey, and then after the offended and the offended do those things, now can we have a grown folks conversation? Where was the door left open?
Right.
What's
What gate?
in you that needed you to look outside of us?
Mm-hmm.
And what weren't you getting here
That you feel
that you
like you
felt
had to
like you
go
had to
get
go
from
get somewhere
somewhere
else?
else. Right.
And then who not to give a license to that and not to make it okay, but to be grown, there was something you was looking for outside of us,
Right.
or
And
some gate or some door, some opportunity that happened outside of us
right.
that caused you to wonder. And so people will quickly appoint to the offended or the offender,
And not
but then
ask
not ask
why.
why or how we
Mhm.
got here to
Mhm.
be stronger and to be better. And
Yeah.
that's grown folks talk. Now,
Right.
y'all can have all the throw your 20 years, throw your 10 years, throw your 5-year relationship away because somebody made a mistake, and you got 50 good things and one bad thing, and not willing to have an honest conversation about what the bad thing was and how it got in. You can do that all you want, and then you'll be starting over and over and over and over again. Every time you start over again, you still gonna have to do some work. Or you can be grown, because my wife told me, and I
I
ain't going
told her.
nowhere, and
I
I
ain't
ain't
going nowhere.
interested in going nowhere or doing nothing. She told me, if you can do something, I ain't going nowhere. That's extremely uncomfortable. unnecessary
I'm not
pressure.
going nowhere. I done did too much. I done gave up too much, and we done built a whole lot of stuff. And I'm not about to let your temporary insanity jack up my life. So no, when you get yourself together, you can even try to bring that thing up in here, and I'm just gonna stay right
We're
here.
not doing none of that.
We're not doing that. But what I'm saying
I'm
is,
not doing none of that.
I started my marriage
With that's not
with
out.
that. That's not an out. That's not going, because I have seen people get divorced
And
and
still be
because
together.
right, because of affairs or infidelity, get divorced, be miserable and everything else, and then they end up getting back together because you love this person and they made a mistake.
Yeah.
They made a mistake, and you're trying to you want to be you want the world to validate
Right.
your perception or validate your choice or what it should be.
Now,
And that's not always the truth.
now when you are now when a marriage has come to an impasse is when somebody don't want to be married.
Right.
You cannot be married
Married
to someone who
who don't
does
want to be
not
married.
want to be married.
Who don't want to be married to you.
Right. And who don't want exactly or be in a relationship with you
With
or
you.
somebody who don't want to do
Mhm.
the work that it takes to be
in a
married.
relationship. Right.
Everything else, in my opinion, everything else you can work through. You can be married through. We have watched and coached people be married through a lot of
Yeah.
things if the desire to be married is there. But what we have never been able to coach anyone through is if
somebody
someone
don't want it.
out of the two don't want to be married. When one person out of the two give up on
Check
the
out.
marriage, then it's not a marriage. And you can't be married to yourself or by yourself
Exactly.
in a marriage. You can be married by yourself if you ain't married, but if you're in a marriage, you can't be married by yourself.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch of people that give up and
Too soon.
they didn't have to give up. They could have
Too
just worked through
soon.
it and fought through it.
Too soon, because you're doing it with somebody
So
else.
I hope we answered. That was the question. How
Yeah.
can you recover
Yeah.
from
We
infidelity in
answered
your
it.
marriage? Absolutely. You can.
Okay. All right. How do you manage attraction in your marriage and letting your partner, they wrote this wrong, but letting your partner something that they don't. Oh,
Uh,
so how do you how do
that's
you
from that
manage?
one
Yeah, how do you
statement.
manage attraction in your marriage when you might have to tell your partner something that they don't want to hear in regards to how you are attracted to them or not attracted to them anymore?
Before you jump in,
I'm not gonna jump in.
that question
wasn't.
came from a statement that my wife made in the conference when she was talking about what'd you say? Put your big girl panties on. You can't, because I want them to have a little context. She was like,
Okay.
especially for men, you can't expect them to be a visionary and want to see, and then when he's looking at you, he can't see, he can't tell you if he like what he see, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So I think first, money, sex, and communication is the big three in any marriage or any relationship. I think people don't spend enough time mastering communication. So if you learn how to say stuff and what to say, the Bible says, speak the truth
And
in love. That's the criteria. Don't lie, tell the truth, but say it in love. And if we learn how to watch our tone and learn how to manage our words and watch what we say and the way we say it, you can say what you need to say to somebody that love you and somebody that you love, even if it's a hard thing to say. But if all you say is hard things and you never say any good things, you never say any affirming things, never say any loving things, you never say any encouraging things, then when you have to have a hard conversation or a difficult conversation, it becomes more difficult. So sometimes the truth hurts and sometimes it's a difficult thing to say. But one of the things you said at the conference, you was like, first of all, if you're getting ready to say something hard to somebody, tell them, prepare them. I got something to tell you. It's going to be very difficult. Give me a minute. Try to prepare yourself to say a difficult thing,
Right.
so you can speak the truth in love. But in the context of your marriage, I mean, you attracted to what you attracted to and you like what you like. I think you got to be sensitive. You got to be sensitive, but you got to be honest. Because if you holding that in your head as a secret, and there's something about your spouse you don't like, you don't enjoy, you don't appreciate, you want to see different, and you're not willing to tell them, communicate to them, and try to help them get there, and it's something that's achievable, right? Something they could do, not something that's unachievable and unrealistic, then that's important.
Yeah, and I think in the other part of this is on the flip side, how do you handle hearing the uncomfortable information? And I think, as you said, you have to prepare, you have to tell them, I'm about to tell you something that's going to be, could possibly be a little difficult for you to hear. But I need you to know that it's coming from a space of love. And what I always say is, when you have a hard thing to say to somebody, and for them to receive it, most of the time, if you're speaking the truth in love, but there's rebellion that comes out of it, or there's a horrible feeling that comes out of it, 9 times out of 10 it's because you never put anything in there outside of the bad thing. So it's like, like when you're dealing with children, what I would always tell teachers, like, you can't just talk to the kid when they're bad. You have to,
Have a
hey, you having
relationship.
right. If you don't have, if you give correction without relationship, you're going to get rebellion
Mm,
when you give them something negative. So
mhm.
you got to make sure that you're like strategic in this thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got to, and not be fake. Like, not, oh, I got to tell them something, so let me be nice to them. Like, no, like, think about, when was the last time that I said something that was positive? Because sometimes in our relationships, we just take each other for granted, especially in our attraction and what we think about them and things of that nature. But you have to make sure that you are depositing something positive into your mate every single day, so that when something comes up, it lands on a soft space.
But I think under, but I, and so while we said in context what we both just said, we agree, right? But the bottom line is, in the safe space of your relationship, truth has to be a non-negotiable. Like, man, grow up and say what you need to say, and grow up and hear what you need to hear. Like, you can't manipulate the situation where the person feel like they gotta hide their truth and suppress their truth because they're walking on eggshells in the context of their own marriage. You got to go do that work. If you can't hear truth and it's truth because you're not mature enough to handle truth, then go do that work. You can't project that on me, and now I'm suppressing my truth and my emotions and my honesty because I'm too worried about if it's going to be triggering for you or not. Like, you need to manage the context of our honesty and both be able to give it and receive it at the same time, in the same level.
And you got to make sure, now this is, let me say this too, this is we're not talking to people that are verbally abusive to their mate, and you use these spaces to hurt them. We're not talking about that, because even if that is, then you need to find out from yourself what
Speak the truth in love. That's
right.
our criteria.
I
So ain't
understand, but
no
somebody
verb.
would be like, I love them,
No,
because
speak the
it could be twisted.
yeah, it could be manipulated, but
Yeah,
speak the truth in love is the context of it. But
yeah.
finish what you were saying, because there's a vein that you're going in, but I just wanted to say, so we're clear, the context is married love relationship. This is preferences that I like in with how I see, and then I learn to speak the truth in love and hear that truth in love.
Yeah, no, I'm good. We're good.
No,
Yeah, because I
you
think we're
sure?
belaboring. Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to be
yeah.
clear, because that's a lot. Because some people say, yes, communication is important in your relationship. They say always not how you say, but how you say it. Debbie asked a great question. She said, is it just that you're starting to like it, or are you starting not to like it after we get married? But does that matter? Because in the context of
Because
marriage,
your
the
marriage
goal,
is a living organism.
exactly, you got to be able to evolve.
Exactly. And you got to give,
And
you
it
got to
don't
give them
matter.
space to evolve. Now I understand some people look at that and they'll be like, oh, well, that means that they're like having an affair or whatever. Like, that's a red flag or whatever. I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm just talking about, like, you get, I think sometimes some places, sometimes in marriages, you get healed. And when you get healed, you're not the person that you were, because this person has allowed you to be your best self. So because they've allowed you to be yourself, it's a little different. Like when people take love language tests, they change. They you can't just put me in a box. Oh, words of affirmation is me and that's it. No, I'm gonna change with life experiences, with the way that you love me, how I'm healed as an individual, what kind of therapy do I get. That brings a different person, because I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago,
So,
5 years ago,
so
especially if I do the work.
that's right. So I'm allowed to want something different, to like something different in the context of our marriage than before. And I need to know how to express that and say it in love.
Because my husband is different. When we got married, he was being, he didn't tell me the truth about
What
it.
up?
He didn't like beef.
Oh God. What is you talking about food? This is about bodies and stuff. This ain't about what you eat. This is, sorry, you guys. Somebody said, what do you think about each spouse having friends of the opposite sex that's not mutually shared by each other.
Mm,
We get this one all the time.
all the time.
I think that has to be explored in the context of the relationship. I think that there are people that my wife know that I don't necessarily know that are her friends. Now she's not talking to them all the time every day or whatever, but she knows them. Perhaps we just haven't been introduced. I have people I know that aren't necessarily her friends, but we don't spend time with them. Most of our friends are mutually beneficial friends that we mutually know and respect each other. Now, if I had a problem or she had a problem with a friend that I had that she didn't know, this is my
We got
primary relationship. This is my most prioritized relationship, and therefore this person over here would have to respect the fact that this isn't comfortable. Now, it would behoove me or my wife to be grown, to be mature, to not be insecure, especially if I've given no reason for that.
Given no
I've
reason.
given no reason to contribute to have you feeling insecure about an outside relationship that's just a friend that I grew up with, high school, blah 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 blah, whatever. I mean, honestly, my siblings, I could have a deeper relationship with my siblings than you have with them just because of proximity. So there are relationships that are outside that may not be inside, but I should give no cause for her to feel any kind of way about them if she's just trying to cut them to be controlling or manipulative and have no legitimate reason.
You gotta know the
That's a
source of it.
conversation. But even in that being a conversation, bottom line, this is the most important prioritized relationship. And if that is her request, then I will honor that request. But there could be some
I was
consequences
just about to say,
within the
because it's
context
gonna
of
be
the relationship.
he or she is gonna look at you a little differently, especially if they've given no reason why they can't have this relationship. And so it just kind of brings up a lot of things about the individual personally.
Hmm.
It does. It says a lot about you personally, especially, let me say that again, if they have given you no reason to be suspect, or the person that they're friends with or whatever hasn't given you any reason. I tell my husband, should I tell my secret?
No, that ain't none of their
They ain't none
business.
of it. So
Tell
anyway,
her whatever you want to say.
but
I don't care.
anyway, what I say to my husband is, I know when a female is trying to get up on him.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah, because
With
I'm
a
naive
female,
with
he's
that.
yeah. And the position that he has, he can't be worried that every single woman that comes up to him is trying to get with him either.
I don't want them.
He can't be himself. So I tell him certain things to look for in how the woman treats me.
Right.
And
That's
that's a telltale of where she is and what she wants. So
Right.
you have to kind of test how they treat your spouse. And so if your friend doesn't like your spouse and they treat your
Doesn't
spouse
respect
that
them.
don't respect them, that's not good.
Right.
That's not a relationship that you should continue to fuel and have and engage with, you know.
But if I'm just flat out insecure at a relationship because it has more time or more history, insecurity is in me, is
Right.
not in her or in the relationship. And I think everybody, excuse me, because your boo keep rubbing on my arm, that's making me feel away. I'm sorry. Everybody, what was I saying?
I don't know.
I lost my thought. Oh, everybody at some point in time, if your spouse has a relationship outside, you might start thinking and feeling or whatever, but you got to check that and know that's inside of you, not because they have given you a reason to feel that way. And I think grown people don't take their own inventory of why they feel a certain way.
Right.
And why they're projecting that on their spouse and say, you have done nothing, neither has your relationship or friendship done anything to us. I just feel that way because I'm manipulative, controlling, and insecure.
No, people ain't gonna say that.
But
they're not gonna admit that.
sometimes that's the case. All right. What's our next question?
Can can the lack of respect and love coexist in a marriage, specifically a husband to a wife? A husband being disrespectful to his wife, belittling her, name calling her, saying I made a mistake by marrying you.
Oh,
So can the lack of respect and love coexist?
Because this is when we said a man interprets love
Love
as
as
respect.
respect, and a
And so
woman
interprets
is
love as
love as
love.
love.
And so this woman is saying, I feel
Respected.
disrespected by my husband and I'm a woman. Yes, because we said that whatever a woman, whatever you give a woman,
She gonna
she gonna
multiply that.
multiply. So
You give her
man,
disrespect, she about to blow. She about to blow up your world.
well, I mean, man, like I also said on Saturday that a woman becomes to a man. I said a woman becomes what you say about her, and a man becomes what she thinks about him. So you want whatever your woman is gonna become is gonna be in your mouth. Whatever you say to her, that's what she becomes. Whatever you speak over her, that's what she becomes. And woman, whatever you think about, however you think highly of your man, what you think about him is what he'll live up to, what he'll be. So any man that's belittling, disrespecting, name calling, talking down to his wife, he's destroying not only her, but he's destroying himself, because the Bible says, love your wife as yourself. So you're just so speaking down to your wife, destroying her, belittling her, name calling her. You are destroying yourself and destroying your marriage and what you're building, and destroying the person that has been assigned and covenant to help you. Why in the world would you destroy the person that is A1 anointed and responsible for helping you the most in the world, which is your spouse? Watch your mouth and watch your language, because that is so critical. So yes, a woman can feel disrespected and interpret that as not feeling loved, because love is in your language. The way you speak to your wife is how she'll feel and sense the love. Does the infrastructure, this is a good question, Mr. E, and thank you so much for your seed. Does the infrastructure take years to build a marriage? Does infrastructure take years to build a marriage? That is a great question. Were you about to say something on the other thing before we jump on this?
I was just going to say,
I'm coming, Mr. E.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because a lot of times when we're talking about marriage, women always talk about their husbands not saying anything. Like, like I can't get a rouse out of him. I can't get him to say anything. So I don't know if he's I feel disrespected because I'm asking something and he's not responding.
Is also feeling the same way.
Right. So do you believe that men do that a lot, or is it another space of quote unquote, like what else could the silence be?
I think men are silent when they don't feel heard. Like silent treatment, being quiet, is because you not listening.
So they like, I'm not gonna say nothing.
And or if I do say anything, it's always confrontational. Men don't come home for confrontation. They don't want to come home for confrontation. They come home for comfort. Men come home for comfort, not confrontation. So if every conversation is leading to confrontation, a man is going to be quiet. If every conversation is leading to you dismissive, or you didn't hear what I'm saying, you're argumentative, a man is going to shut down. His shutdown is saying a lot, even if he ain't saying a lot. So yes, being quiet as a man, he got something to say. He just don't know if it's going to be heard, or what are you going to do with my words? In the same way that you take my seed and turn it into a child, you take my house and turn it into a home, you take my food in the refrigerator and turn it into a meal. What do you do with the words that I give you? Do you turn the words that I give you against me, or do you turn the words that I give you for me or for us? Do you take the language do you listen to what I'm telling you and then respond accordingly? Do I see the results in our conversation, or is it always giving me confrontation and struggle and strife? Then I just hold my words and hold my thoughts, keep them to myself, or find someone who will listen.
Okay, go ahead. Go to that one that you said you was going to.
All right. The man of God said, does infrastructure take years to build in a marriage? Infrastructure can. This is a profound question. People get married without knowing who do what, who's best at what, who's great at what, whose responsibility is what. Systems inside of your marriage are always going to evolve and change based on age, strength, workflow, responsibility. All these things can be variables, but the infrastructure, in our home, everybody got a job, right? We know who does what. Everybody's delegated to something. So the infrastructure of mutual submission and mutual strength, and who's great at what and who does what well, and a system around that does not have to take years to build. It can take years to perfect. It can take years to find a rhythm. But how can two walk together except they agree? If you agree on the purpose, agree on the vision, agree on the mission, agree on how we get there and who does what to get there, you can move infrastructure very, very fast. You handle this, you handle this, I handle this, you handle this. You good at this, I'm good at this. You take care of this, I take care of that. It's about knowing. But again, in the pre-phase, in the dating phase, people don't spend enough time discovering who they are, what they do well, and what they bring to the marriage that benefits the world for them being married. So therefore, we have people who get married for I don't want to say the wrong reasons, but not the most important reasons. And then when they're in the context of marriage, they don't get in it to say, let's build an infrastructure so we can build a nation. Right. And know how we want to build our nation and how we want to exist as Glens and what do we want to do. And so it can take a long time to build, but it can happen very fast if the moment you decide to be married, that you start leaning into the strengths and the rhythm and the factors of who does what well, and how do we move fast, and how do we mutually submit to the greatest gift in the house so that the marriage wins ultimately.
And I also think that that is such a great question. But I also think that in marriage, when we become or understand what a wife is, what a husband is, and not try to parent our spouses. So no, you're not his mama. And yeah, I guess he can be your daddy every now and then, but he's not your dad. He is your husband. And what does that mean? What does that look like? And allowing your partner to grow into that role. We think, the only time, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you Jesus brother, the only thing it says is that a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, which means that she's already a wife. So she's already kind of like low key, just kind of like running things. But I think for a man, it is something that he has to kind of grow into understanding. No, because he leaves his mother and his father because all of that teaching has to have already been done. But it never tells a woman to leave her mother, or I won't say her father, but at least her family members to help.
What are you asking? What are you saying?
What I'm just saying is that I just think that some people are being that some spouses are being parents, and then they get frustrated, and then the infrastructure of marriage is not established because you're not husband and wife.
You're not leading and helping. You're mothering and fathering. You're pampering and coddling.
Exactly. And you're getting mad at and I'm just going to speak from a woman because I'm a woman. You're getting mad at your husband because he's not being a husband, but you think that he can't do anything. So then you go ahead and do it and you be his mama, and then you get mad. You get mad because you can't keep up the mothering of a grown person because you never was supposed to in the first place.
Right.
Sorry. I just had to get that off my chest.
Understood.
All right, let's go.
Somebody just said, my husband just texted me and said that he's watching the game and his friends, and that he's going to stay over tonight because he's been drinking, and that's happening on a regular basis. Close your mouth. So
thank you for that.
I'm sorry that that's happening on a regular basis. If I called my wife and told me that, she would say, where is the address, and I'll come pick you up.
Or I will send an Uber.
Yeah, because you should not drive because you are inebriated.
And that makes sense.
But you should not spend the night because you are inebriated.
You should be home.
You can come home.
So I can take care of you.
So I can make sure you're good.
That's the response.
That's what my wife would do. She would come get me or send somebody to come get me.
9 times out of 10, I would go get him. I would go get him because I want to see what's happening.
I thought you just was coming to get me because you was caring about me.
I'm caring about you, and I'm caring about you and the atmosphere that you in and the people that you around. And I need everybody to know that I care about you. I
Okay.
need everybody to know that.
We only got a little more time.
Okay.
Let's finish this.
If you are
Praying for
already,
you.
yes, we're definitely praying for you.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now,
Go
go get
get
in
your
that
man.
car, go get your man. Don't send no Uber, go get your man and ask God to help your heart so that
Put
you
your
can,
finger down.
sorry, ask God to help your heart so that you can be loving. Ask him to help you. That's just being human. Ask him to help you to be loving. All right? And don't go all up. Hey, where's my husband? Is he in here?
And if it's something beyond that,
And then you can have a different conversation
you say,
when he wakes up.
why is it that you never want to come home?
And I get you want to be with your boyfriend.
Everybody in the thread, y'all crazy. Go get him, sis. Go get him.
Go get my man. Okay?
Y'all are wild in these comments, sis. Go get him.
It was nice. Thank you for the text, sir. But I'm on my way.
Oh my
Praise
God.
God.
But
All
be
right.
ready on another time for a conversation of why,
Why?
when that happens, do you feel like you can't come home? Is there something about our home environment that doesn't want you to come home? All right, let's go.
All right. If we are already married, what does realigning ourselves with God look like? If we are still struggling with past relationships, meaning we did not heal from them.
Oh man, I think if you are realigning, you already married and then you
Mhm.
find God.
So like you hear
That's
all
great.
of this, you hear
Yeah.
all of this
You're
great
like,
stuff
dang,
that you should be
it's too
doing.
late.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. I think realigning and healing from your past together is about what we always say is it's about honesty, right? Don't have this you was wild and doing it all wrong. Then you get Jesus and then just act like just because he washed it all away. There's not some conversations we need to have. Okay. Jesus washed it all away. But listen, I was a fool. I was wild. I should never talk to you like that. I should never did this. And if you can be honest to each other, to children that may have watched it,
Exactly.
and then find what God's will is for your marriage, and you can submit to that and let that vulnerability and empathy draw you closer to each other so you can heal and move through that instead of necessarily running from it.
And know that what you are hearing or what you have just been introduced is not a behavior that you are accustomed to.
Yeah.
So it will feel weird. It will feel like, why am I doing this? But as long as you know that you want the greater good for your relationship, that these are behaviors that you're going to have to learn. And when you're learning them, that I might mess up. I mean, dang, I did not mean to say that. I'm sorry. I said the D word in our house. Forgive me, Lord, forgive me. I shouldn't have said divorce. Like it's okay to do that as long as your intent and you are going down the road of realigning your marriage with the word of God. Just know that it's not, I won't say that it's not going to be easy, but it's not something that's just going to just flow because you just made the decision to do that.
And you heal together.
Yeah.
Healing together is going to make your bond stronger. All right.
Got
something there. We got something here. What do you
Okay.
do if a husband has many women friends and you want the communication with other women to stop?
Well, you need to ask you have to ask, why do you want the communication with other women stop?
And what's the nature of the relationship with the other many women friends?
Right.
Because, having outside women friends can be inappropriate, but it doesn't always mean it's inappropriate. Sometimes it's inappropriate and sometimes it's insecurity inside of you. So you have to decide, is there inappropriate things going on?
If he has not given you any reason to think anything else. That's all I'm saying.
Even if he has, though, why is it always any? Like, any? Okay. If he giving you any reason,
because you have to listen. Many women, not a couple of women, many women. That's a problem. So you gonna be okay with me having a whole bunch of male friends?
No.
Exactly. So and you're not insecure.
Right.
It's not a good look.
But the nature of our relationship wouldn't allow you to have a lot of male friends. Even if you wanted to. My involvement, my aroundness, my leadership, my communication, my input, my travel schedule. my responsibilities, my expectations. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Like you can try to have all of them that you want, but if I'm marrying you right, you ain't got time.
If you
You
doing
ain't
what?
got, if I'm married to you right, you don't got time for a lot of. You ain't got time for a lot of.
Sir, that's
I'm
not
just
what
saying.
they came for.
No, that's what they
They
came
did not
for.
come for.
Because
I'm telling y'all, this man of God, when I used to work and I was a principal, he would just showed up at my job, and I'm not thinking nothing about
with
it.
flowers.
With flowers, and I'm
with
just
fruit.
like, why are you coming up here? Not because I was doing anything, just for the simple fact, like,
But I
why did
wasn't-
you come?
but I
he
wasn't-
came because he was like, I need them to smell me.
Exactly.
I need him
I
to
wasn't
smell me.
coming up there because I thought you were doing anything.
You was
I
making
was
an
coming up there
announcement.
because I was your husband. And if I'm married right, if I'm involved right, if I'm engaged right, I don't have to worry about who else trying to get in here. You ain't got no energy for that. You don't got no time for that. If we doing this right, that's all I'm saying. So I hear what you're saying with the whole guard and that, and I'm just saying, if people get married and they do that, then you can have a lot of girlfriends outside of your marriage because you wasn't married. You can have a lot of guy friends outside of your marriage. You don't have a lot of girlfriends. All of your friends was guys. You had a lot of guy friends and you wasn't a hoe. You just preferred dudes more than you preferred girls.
I did.
But you didn't break up with your dude friends. You just married.
Yeah.
They don't have time. You don't have time. They know.
They knew.
She's married now. She don't got time.
They knew.
She's the homie. Oh, we miss. When they see her in the street, they at the conventions. Hey, what up? They all happy to see her, but they know you don't got time now because you married to him. And people trying to manage outside relationships, and they're not managing the one they in.
The one that you have covenant with.
Manage the one you in. You won't have time to block nobody for the other ones.
Manage the one that you have.
Now, y'all don't like my answer, but that's true.
Because God is going to hold you accountable for this relationship, not all of them other relationships. Because all of them other relationships is satisfying your flesh.
I don't have to block her from being in other relationships. All I have to do is be in this one.
Stop.
The more I'm in this one.
What time is it?
Then the more
we got 3 minutes.
You don't have time for any other relationship.
We don't ran out of time
outside of this one. And that's all I'm trying to get the people to do. Done? She said we ran out of time.
No, you got a couple of minutes.
She ready to go. Okay. Because we ain't set no time. All right. She said we out of time because she ready to go. Because when you marry right, you don't got to block. You don't got to worry about who trying to get in. You just keep your stuff going on and you'll be all right.
What they
Quit trying to change the subject. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Right? Okay. You gonna answer some more questions or no?
Just one more. What they say? I just want to see what they said.
They said a lot.
They did.
Yes, but you ain't got time to read. Come on.
All right. So this will be the last one. This is pretty loaded. This will be the last one. What? Because you said this in the retreat about people taking things out of the vows, and what does obey you, your husband look like? There's 4 questions on here.
Does it look like
whatever he says and you don't question it?
Does it?
I don't.
Does it?
Whatever he says, you don't question it. First of all, I don't believe questioning it and questioning is 2 different things. So if your husband is wanting you or needing you to obey something, first of all, he didn't marry you because you were an idiot. He didn't do that. He doesn't want you to be an idiot. He doesn't want you to be, oh, whatever you say. Well, I don't know. Sometimes they might want you to do that, but he wants you to have, he wants to be able to have conversation with you. So if your husband is asking you to do something and you don't necessarily agree with it,
you should say it.
You should say that. But then you also need to ask yourself, well, why don't I agree with it? Like, to yourself, why don't I agree with it? Because Sarah married Abraham and called him little Lord. And my grandmother always told me, if you can't call them little Lord, don't marry him.
But babe, this is too late.
Okay, it's too late. Yeah, all right, because they already married. All right, sorry. Here we go.
Stay focused.
So
Answer the question, woman of
I'm
God.
trying. So I think that you can ask a question. You just have to, it's tone and facial and all that other kind of stuff. And you can have a conversation about whatever he's asking you to do. But when you walk out of that room, it's one voice. No.
Why you say no? It's a woman's perspective about
Okay.
asking about a woman. So
And
I'm
then I
curious
think that
about what you
there's some,
say.
and then I think that there's some things that it's not even to be talked about. It's just you just do that.
In
If he's
case of
not
a
asking you to do something crazy,
yeah, I don't think that a man. I think it's not wise for a man to have a brilliant, beautiful, bold wife and don't ask for her input, insight, perspective. I think in case of an impasse,
then
his
you,
leadership is what is required. But I think any good leader wants to make a good decision with all the information.
and I
But
think as a woman, you need to, if obey rubs you the wrong way or whatever, and you can't blindly trust him and all of that kind of stuff, you need to ask yourself, why wouldn't he ask me? Why wouldn't he ask for my opinion? Why wouldn't he want me to give
well, he could ask then why do I always have to explain? Why don't she
exactly?
trust me? Why can't she follow my leadership? Especially if he's a man in leadership that
Exactly.
always gives directives and people do what he say, then he come home and he always has to have a conflict.
And this is the other thing about that whole obey thing. I thought about it like early on in my marriage, and I was like, dang, like we can have this conversation, and I can have my opinion, and I could be like, I don't think that's good. But then he got to go out and just do it, because remember, nothing happened to Eve. It only happened when he took it. So the weight of the responsibility to make sure that things happen, to make sure that certain things happen or not. Or if you feel like, oh, well, then, then he messed up. He did his thing and y'all had a conversation, and then quote unquote, he messed up. You shouldn't rally in that. You shouldn't be like,
Yeah,
I
because I
told you,
because
or no.
because I think it's interesting, babe. We got to get done, but I
Okay.
think it's interesting that women get frustrated when they always have to lead, but then they
Exactly.
don't want to follow. They get upset because I always got to make the decision. I always got to make the choice, and the husband is just like, "Yo, if I'm the leader and I always have to fight you for a choice or fight you for a decision, especially if I have a track record of making good decisions and good choices, and you don't lead, you don't never want to follow, you can't obey. But then the moment you always gotta do the stuff, then you like, I'm tired of being a mama. I'm tired of making all the decisions. Well, you acting like you the leader and you don't want to follow, and nobody want to fight you to follow. You said that you would lead. You said you would follow my lead. But then every time I'm getting ready to lead, I gotta fight you to follow.
Hmm.
That's exhausting. Because every man ain't out here making bad decisions all the time. And I know that's what you want to say. You want to say, well, sometimes they make bad decisions.
No, no, no,
But
no.
even if a man makes a bad
I'm
decision,
just
a
saying,
wise woman, a
will
wise woman
build.
will build. She will help, even if he makes it, oh, it's okay, honey. Maybe next time think about it like this. Da-da-da. Plant the idea in his head. Encourage him, get him up, put him out front. Because you trying to get him in a position where he can lead. And everybody in this modern day, well, what about I'm this and what about that? Hey, can you do it or you can't do it? Like if
No,
you want to do all the
you can
things,
do it.
then stay
Exactly.
single. Because if you
You ain't
want to
gotta obey.
exactly obey yourself when you single. But when you married, you coming into a covenant. Yes, there's mutual submission, but the husband's responsibility is to lead,
Lead.
and that is his mandate from God. And the woman's responsibility is to help.
Help.
It doesn't mean she's not a leader. She is most definitely, unequivocally a equal leader and equal partner. But somebody has to follow suit, because if you cannot follow the leadership of this man, then do not
Do not
marry
marry him.
him. Stay single.
Let him go. Because there is some
Don't
woman.
let him go. If you marry, you got to be
Oh, sorry.
careful.
I'm sorry.
Some
Y'all
people,
married. Okay.
some people will be like,
Get
she
yourself
said, let him
together.
go. You about
No.
to get up out of here. No,
Get yourself
but listen,
together.
but that's so honest. And even though it's slipped, it's so honest, because some people would rather let him go than to learn to obey.
Mm. And that right there, you don't want to obey. You just need to be honest. I don't want to obey. And if you don't want to obey and you're
It don't
married,
matter who leading.
it
You want to
doesn't matter.
lead. You
You want to lead.
controlling. You want to run it.
You would just. Ooh, mm. So all I'm gonna say, y'all, is
And that's why dudes don't have time to fight somebody to follow them.
as somebody said, women
You
are.
reading the comments instead of paying
That's because
attention.
somebody said women aren't made like that anymore, and that's the truth.
And
I
that's the
have heard
problem.
that
And
over.
that's the
I have
problem.
heard that over and over
That man of
again
God said women.
from men.
That's
From
that's a
men.
man that said that,
No,
because
oh yeah,
yes, it's a man that
it
said
said
that,
that
because
exactly.
men don't have, we don't have time to fight for somebody to follow, especially when we, especially if we are a man in leadership. Now nobody coming home to fight because you don't want to obey. If you don't want to obey nobody, if
Then
you don't
don't.
want to follow nobody,
Then
then
don't
stay
stay
single.
single.
If you, and it doesn't mean that it diminishes your rights and your authority. No good leader is going to have a competent, capable partner and don't take into consideration their best interest, their insight, their perspective, and their advice. But at the end of the day, the responsibility and the weight on that house is on the man. Eve was tearing that fruit up
Mm-hmm.
and nothing happened. When she gave that to Adam and he didn't lead,
The responsibility.
sin entered into the world.
The responsibility.
Cramps entered into the world. Birth pains entered into the world. Work entered into the world. All the things happened because God gave him an instruction and he didn't follow the instruction. And she didn't follow his instruction. He said, don't eat, because God said, don't eat. She, you don't tell me what to do. I eat whatever I want. See, I'm eating and they ain't doing nothing. Here, you taste it. And him stupid butt gonna do what she said instead of her doing what he said.
Because
we still got
he
these fights happening
before.
today.
He was here. It was him. It was him and God. He knows God. It was him and God first. And then quote unquote being a helpmate, which means that that's what a wife is. Now, if now we are coming from a kingdom perspective, we are coming from the Bible. We are not coming from the world. So if that's what you own, then this is not for you.
He has to show himself as a leader for a woman to follow. If he is not a man you can follow, do not marry him. If you have married him as a helpmeet, then help him become the leader that you can follow.
That is
by getting him around some other leaders that he can follow, and a woman becomes what a man says about her, and a man becomes what she thinks about him. We ain't got time.
So if you think
you
think he a doddlehead and he can't lead, then guess what?
He will
not gonna
never live up. He will only live
he
up
will
to
not be
he will.
to your highest expectation that is in your head and what comes out of your mouth and what is inside of your heart.
We gotta go. We don't got time.
So they've been asking about these shirts. You can go on the website. People have been asking for nice shirts.
It's there.
It's there. All right.
They can scan the code. They can
go
get it.
You can order it.
All of these questions came out of this book. It's a 30-day. We did a seminar. Love is not what you think. Trust me. This seminar that we sat with these people for 4 hours is what brought up all these questions that they had. And this is why we wearing these shirts, and this is why we having this conversation. October is coming. It's a fresh 31 days. You can order this book today on our website. You can order this book, get it, and you can practice the principles that's inside of this book on anybody you love, on your children, on your spouse, on your fiance, on your boo, on your boyfriend, on your girlfriend. You can practice it on anybody you love. This will let you know if you're ready for love or not.
Exactly.
Because a whole bunch of people want to be in a relationship, but they're not ready to love. Yeah. There's a difference between being in a relationship and being ready to love. So love is where you get it. If you go on the website where the merch is, you'll also see where the book is. We'll ship it out to you this week. We headed to Detroit to the I Believe conference with Pastor Welton, going to speak about marriage again. We just left one last weekend. We headed to another one this weekend. We've been talking about this. You can get it. We'll send it, ship it to you. If you order it today or tomorrow, you can get it before October comes. Yeah. So October, you can practice 31 days of love. We make strong statements in here like this. The first strong statement is love is a commitment to give without the expectation to receive. Love is the commitment to give without the expectation to receive. A lot of people ready for relationships. Few people are ready for love. There's how you get the t-shirts. This is how you get the book. Watch it on the replay. Share it with your friends. Stream it again and again and again. Was this good for y'all tonight? If y'all got some questions, y'all can hit it up. Send it to us in an email. Send it to us. Sign up, subscribe on our website. Send us an email. And we would love to try to get back to it. We're going to come back and have some talks. Right now, we're going to go talk in another way. Y'all go
We
have
didn't put up the cash app if people want to sew into.
If people what?
If people want to sew into us.
You know, if they want to sew into us tonight,
buy the book.
Just buy the book. Just buy the book. You want to sew into us tonight? Buy the t-shirt. If this was good to you and you want to receive, you want to give where you receive, buy the book
or buy the t-shirt.
Buy the t-shirt. That's how you can sew to us tonight, because that'll make the most sense. It'll be an exchange. Sewing is really you giving something for what you already received. So sewing would be you giving to us because we just pour it out for you. But tonight we'll say, get the book, get the t-shirt. We'll accept that as your seed, and may your relationships be blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, in another way. Great conversation. I'm late, but I'm going to buy the book. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Hey, there's Sean Stanley there. What's up, Papa Sean?
Hey, Papa Sean.
There you go. Got that.
Question
question
to ask.
Question to ask. Get my copy. Get my copy. Thanks for getting your copy. Thank you. Thank you. Love us. Yes, all good stuff. I love y'all. All right. Good times. Peace. We out. Live or later. Let us